Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Hope you and your week are off to a good start. We are, of course, left with the challenges of Chicago sports. The Bears lost. The Cubs and the White Sox are both out of it, and the NBA Finals are lit up by Jimmy Butler, a guy the Bulls traded. So we've got that going for us or not, but we do have the good word. And today, a challenge coming to us out of Hebrews chapter 10. So we started this yesterday looking at the idea of the church. And I said, look, the church is, it's a cause, it's a community, it's a corporation. The word church, ecclesia, is a term that Jesus reached back into the past of some ancient Greek philosophers and pulled this term out. It's sort of a political term, but he rebranded it and used it to describe what he was starting. And he said it will run. We do church because it's God's plan. And I am on staff at a church, have been working and involved actively in a church for decades. It's my day job. I've given my life to it. I sometimes say, Lord, really? Like, this is the plan. Oh my goodness. What's plan B? But there is no plan B. The local church is the hope of the world. This is something that is animated by Christ. He is the head of the church. His church will prevail. So I want to read this passage to you again and just reflect a little bit because I have been reflective lately. Let us hold fast. This is Hebrews 10:23. Let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. And let us consider how to stimulate one another to love and good deeds, not forsaking our own assembling together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another all the more as you see the day drawing near. So, look, this is a statement. Don't forsake getting together. Don't forsake gathering together with Christians. It doesn't say that this is exclusively a Sunday morning event. But it seems that that's the general thrust of this, that we are to gather together, to worship, to encourage one another, to participate in the sacraments, all these things that we see in Acts chapters 2 and 4. So I just want to note a couple things that I think are worth highlighting as we think about the church. Today, many people think of church as an event. I'm going to go to church. Maybe they think of it as a building. The church is down the street, but often think of it as an event. I go to church. And in that context, you going to church, you are a spectator. And I am a performer. I am expected to entertain or engage you, or the worship music is expected to flip some switches and give you a positive experience. Not really. So I'm not against any of that. I understand, appreciate, and see value in inspiration. It's not lost on me that 40,000 people go to hear Joel Osteen every week talk about the fact that they can do it, and he offers inspiration. But you are not ever spectators. You're not an audience. We are a congregation. The audience at church is God. We are worshipers. We gather together to declare his worth and to realign our life in light of those truths. And I don't want to be a jerk, but when people talk about the audience at church, I almost always correct them and say, no, we don't have an audience here. There's a congregation. And when people talk about, we're going to do something on the stage, I go, no, it's not a stage, it's a platform. I want that mindset to be there. It's different, and I think it matters. So I find myself reflecting on all this because it's COVID and it's weird. We're about 25 to 30% of people back for in-person worship. Lots of people worshiping online. But 25 to 30% back, and that's, in the Midwest, that's about what people are running. It's up from 15% initially. There are some places that are running 60, 70%, but not really anybody running more than that. And I think COVID has just accelerated a lot of trends that were already in place. And I've been reflecting on all of this because of, interestingly, NFL games without spectators, and the building of the SoFi Stadium, the $7 billion stadium. There's a sense in which you can always tell what a city or what a community values by looking at the architecture. What are the biggest or most expensive buildings? It used to be, the tallest buildings were always the church, but not so much anymore. And now we have these huge cathedrals, but they're sports complexes. So I'm reflecting on all this, and I just want to say, look, please understand, we do not gather necessarily to be encouraged. We gather to worship, and we gather to encourage one another to love and good deeds, and we gather to pray. And if you are not comfortable coming to in-person church, I get it. I certainly get that. I understand it. Hey, I was at an event. There were 10 of us, my mother-in-law's 84th birthday party, and there was a super spreader. 7 of us came down with COVID. So I get it. I want to be very careful about all that. But I do want to say, if you're a Christ follower and you've got problems with the church, at some point we have to deal with what Jesus says about the church. And some of it is a matter of our being formed and shaped in ways we may not want to be formed and shaped that are not easy, but they are what we're called to. We'll talk more about this tomorrow.